Let's be honest. Are you really a D1 prospect? A lot of high school players think they are. In this video, I'll go over 7 questions to ask yourself to get brutally honest feedback about whether you are actually a D1 prospect or are you just delusional. Stay tuned. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, do you have a Division One offer? If the answer is no, then you have a lot of proving to do. If the answer is yes, then the next question I would ask you, is that offer legit? A lot of times verbal offers can come and go, and in today's basketball culture, sometimes offers are simply not real. They are used as tools for players to get promoted further. Sometimes schools will not offer kids without offers. So high school coaches will call in a favor for a school to offer a kid. And if they have a good enough relationship with that college may say, hey, we want to officially offer you. And knowing that that offer might go away or is contingent on you playing well throughout the remainder of your high school years, but it's really not a valid offer. So, what does a valid offer look like? A valid offer is coming from the college head coach and the assistant. But if you are truly offered from a program, you should have spoken to the head coach already. That lets you know they're serious and the offer is real. Question number 2. You should ask yourself, do you have Division One size? What is Division One size? Division One size varies from position to position, but the starting size at point guard is typically 6'1" to 6'3". The higher the level, the bigger the point guard. A lot of high level schools, even mid majors, will prefer a point guard that's 6'4" and up. Why? They simply can see better in the passing lanes. It's easier for them to get their shot off. They also might be playing against bigger guards. So across all of the positions, the trend is going upwards. Players are getting taller and taller and more athletic and explosive. So it's important that you know, as a potential prospect, what is the average height at your position? If you are 5'8" and you think that you're a Division One prospect, you need to have significant ability, not potential. You need to be able to prove that you can play against high level size and strength and not be impacted. And not only not be impacted, but you need to be able to dominate against that size. And that is simply tough to do in today's game. On to the next. The third question you need to ask yourself is, do you have a high motor? A high motor is a term you'll often hear when you listen to recruiting evaluations, or even if you tune into the NBA draft and they talk about draft prospects, you'll hear them refer to players having a high motor. A high motor is simply being able to make multiple efforts in a single possession. High motor players include players like Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo. LeBron James has a high motor. If you think about one possession for Steph Curry, he's bringing the ball up, he's initiating the offense, he's setting a screen, and he's running off multiple screens, and he'll end the possession by knocking down a jump shot. Giannis Antetokounmpo will get a rebound on one end. Let's take it even a step further. He'll get a defensive stop, get a rebound, take the ball coast to coast, and finish the play on offense. This is the big man who makes a block, passes the ball out to the point guard, sprints down the middle of the floor, gets the ball back, and gets the dunk. That's a high motor, making multiple plays in a single possession. It's very important to have a high motor at the Division One level because the game moves so fast And oftentimes, if you're not able to make one play, that second and third effort will allow you to make a play on the other end of the floor or allow you to make a play later in the possession. These multiple efforts have significant impact over the game in the long term. The fourth question you need to ask yourself is, are you consistent? This is something high school players really struggle with. High school players generally look at their brightest moments and they use that as the measuring stick to determine whether they can play Division I basketball or not. So that team that you played against that was 5-15 and really wasn't that good, and you had 30 points, and you say, oh, I scored 30 points that game, and that brought my average up. I'm averaging about 20 points now. I must be Division I. That's not generally how it works. Division I prospects are measured by their performance against the highest level of competition, and that's often Division I players. So your great performance against a low-level school, it matters because Division I prospects do not play down to the level of their competition, but they also will have similar performance against other Division I players. So when you're trying to figure out, are you consistent or not, you simply need to ask yourself, for my best games, who was I playing against? Was I playing against players on the floor, other players on the floor that were also Division I prospects? Or were they not prospects at all? Were they players that won't be playing in college next year or in the foreseeable future? If your best games, your 20-point games, your 30-point games, your 20 rebound games, if those games came against players who are not prospects and will not be playing college basketball, then you probably have a long ways to go in becoming a Division I prospect. Division I prospects perform with Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State sitting right next to the sideline and watching them play against a team full of other Division I players who are all 6'5" and up, jumping out the gym, playing like their life depends on it. That's what it's like to play Division I basketball, because those are the guys who go Division I. So it's an intense situation, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with it. Division I prospects embrace that pressure, and they are consistent no matter who's in the gym watching, no matter who they're playing against, no matter where the game is played. You will see them perform, and they do not disappoint. Prime example, Cooper Flagg's senior year, they happened to have a tournament in Florida, or it wasn't a tournament. It was just a very low-key shootout. The competition was good, but it wasn't the best you would see Mount Vert play against. But Cooper Flagg did not disappoint. You would have thought that there were NBA scouts in the gym, and there probably were, but you would have thought it was a packed house at Duke, 40,000 fans watching, Cameron crazy stomping around because he was sweating like he had just ran a marathon. That is what Division I prospects do. Every game matters. Every possession matters. So when you ask yourself, are you consistent? It's not just about your point output. It's about your level of energy, your attitude, and your effort. That has to remain consistent as well. Division I prospects rarely disappoint. And that's why they gain the trust of Division I coaches, who eventually offer them based on that consistency. They know what they're going to get and when they're going to get it. And so when they bring them on campus, they expect nothing less. Think about it. Would you want to bring a kid in on a scholarship and your job depends on it, but he only had 3 really good games against the worst competition in his area? Would you trust him to come in and perform at the highest level? When in high school, he only performed okay at best at the highest level, but he had 40 and 50-point games when he played against the local teams with no prospects. Probably not. You probably want the kid who performed time and time again against the best level of competition, because that is the type of competition that they will see when you bring them on campus. The fourth question you need to ask yourself is, do you will your team to win? Now, if you have a high motor and you're consistent, that consistency will also be in quarters 1 through 4. That means you will start the game off how you're supposed to, making an impact. And in the fourth quarter, when things are tight and everybody else is tired, you will also step up and embrace that pressure, and you will outperform the other players. Division I prospects simply do not blend in at any point during the game. Why is that? Because they wouldn't be Division I prospects if they looked like the other kids who weren't prospects. Division I players stand out. And that's often why they get the offers, because when a college coach is watching, they know who's different on the court. So how do they will their team to win? While other players get tired, while other players disappear in the fourth quarter late in the game, Division I players embrace the moment, they understand the pressure, and they execute. And they do it time and time again. And it's simply too much for the average player to overcome when they have a force on the other side outwilling them, out jumping them, running faster, out executing, out thinking them. That is a Division I prospect. You impact the game late in the game and simply refuse to lose. And does it always work out for you? Does it mean you hit every shot? Absolutely not. But it does mean while other players might lose focus, or they might have a brief moment where they're not putting in their best effort, they lose that desire. Division I players have that motor and that consistency, and that wills their team to win. And they often come to college, and when you look back at their high school career, they have several memorable moments of them winning the game, of them playing in the state championship game or the state tournament game or the district finals. Is because time and time again, they have come through for their teams. These last two questions are probably my favorite because they are controllables. They are things that every player can do, no matter what their size or ability level. It is simply effort. Question number 5 is, do you have Division I grades? So what are Division I grades? If you watched my last video where we talked about the eligibility center, you would know that you have to have a minimum of a 2.3 to play Division I. So does that mean you have a 2.3 and you're barely squeaking by? No. Division I players often have higher GPAs because they're thinking of getting into Division I schools. Schools like Duke simply do not let players in with a 2.3. Those players are high performers on the court and in the classroom. So what if you don't want to go to Duke? Most Division I programs are at prestigious universities, universities with a high academic standard. In order to get into those schools, the coaches have to know that you care about your grades and that you can handle the academic load. You will go to practice for many hours. You will have homework. You will have weightlifting sessions. You will be tired, and you will still have to go to class after class and do all the coursework and study for the tests that are required. Most players are simply not cut out for this. Division I players are. It's part of how they work. They are very motivated to do all things that are in their control, the best of their abilities. Division I players often come with 3.0 plus GPAs and high SAT and ACT test scores. Now, do you have outliers? Of course. You have the 4 and the 5-star kids that are simply just great athletes and schools make exceptions for them. Of course that happens. But most of the time, the Division I kids, they know they're going to be playing Division I, so they don't want anything to stand in their way, especially grades, which is something that they control. So they're turning in assignments, they're attending class regularly, and they are doing their best to study for tests. Because a 3.0 is all controllables. Again, that's showing up to class on time. That is studying for tests, and that is turning in all your work. If you do all 3 of those things, most likely you will get a 3.0. All All right, the kids, and that's a B for those of you who don't know. Those of you who are getting C's or D's, you're simply not putting forth your best effort and controlling the things that you control. You're missing class, you're not turning in all your work, and you're definitely not putting any effort to study for tests. So that is probably my favorite because I can tell how bad a kid wants it once you say, oh, you also have to go to class and let coaches know that you can perform in the classroom as well. So they don't have to worry about you when you get on campus, not passing your classes. You can find out real quick what a kid is made of when you look at his transcripts, which college coaches often ask for right away when they decide they're going to start recruiting you seriously. Question number 6 is, do you love the game or do you love the clout? And I love this question. As someone who respects the game, and the game is near and dear to my heart, in today's generation of players, you will often see the 4 and 5-star kids who have all the followers in the world have 2 or 3 posts on social media, but you will see the kids who are 0 stars have 30 posts and the most highlights. Why is that? I think that the 4 and a 5-star kid who only has 3 posts is too busy in the gym, worrying about how they're going to get better, worrying about who are they going to play next, what tournament they're going to. They need to get their grades to the best level they can so they can get into the highest level school that they can. While the 0-star kid is simply scrolling social media, looking at the 4 and the 5-star kids and living through them and hoping and trying to make their Instagram look like the 4 and the 5-star kids. So one is actually living the life. One is looking at the person living the life and trying to imitate. And they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They want the clout. These are the kids who do not start, do not play basketball in the off season, do not work on their game, but they have Hooper in their label on social media. These are the kids where when you get them in the gym and you tell them, hey, we have to work on the fundamentals in order for you to be great. But as soon as you turn their back, they're just going through the motions and not putting any effort. 4 and 5-star kids, Division I recruits, if you tell them, hey, you need to make 50 mic-in layups in a row, they won't leave the gym until it's done. Division I prospects will do form shooting until they swoosh 20 in a row. And they won't start shooting until they complete that task. While the 0-star kid, as soon as the coach turns their back, they will lie and say they swished 10, or they didn't even make 10. And that is the difference. One truly is trying to get better and preparing to play Division I. The other simply just wants what comes with being Division I. They want the attention, they want people to respect them, and they want to look good on social media. So there you have it. 6 brutally honest questions to ask yourself to figure out if you're a Division I prospect or are you just delusional. Like and let me know in the comments, did I leave out anything? Was I too easy on you guys? Or did I get it just right? Thank you for tuning in to True Level Hoops. I appreciate you all. Respect the game.